listening to the Energy is Love podcast.
Energy is Love.
Podcast.com. I hear that every time.
Right? There's so many things that I hear. We've been doing a lot of podcasting.
Have we?
Yeah. This is episode 268, Steph.
That's a lot.
That's quite a few, actually.
We've got a few.
Right? I mean, it's pretty much, what did we say? We used to say back in the day, like, if this is the first episode that you're listening to, and then you want to go back and listen, you've got like 5 years worth of podcasts to catch up on. So good luck. Right? If you go to our website, actually, we don't talk about our website enough. Go to energyislovepodcast.com and you can click on our favorite episodes and you can go listen to those.
Oh, those?
That's a good place to start.
That is a good place to start. Also, those are some older episodes.
Yeah. Yeah, we could definitely update that list.
Got favorites. Yeah, it might need to be updated.
We could update that list like every week.
Right.
Last week's episode is on that list. So go listen to last week's episode.
And if you did and you're still listening, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for sticking around. If you made it through Orgy Virgin, I appreciate it. It's a good episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I am a little nervous, but that's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Did you have anything right off the bat? Because if not,
go for it.
We're going to go for a ride.
Are you, what's that?
I have so many things on my list.
Yeah?
But
you can only pick one.
Yeah. The one thing that I want to go into right now, because I think that I'm not alone in this. So that's why I want to talk about it, because I think that a lot of people are going to be able to relate.
Okay.
And we should talk about it before the edibles kick in.
Oh, good.
This was several, I don't know, nights, weeks, days. Time is an illusion, so who knows when it was.
It was last night, I think.
It was 15 minutes before we started recording. But Stephanie and I were talking, and I started to get into the space where I was discussing with her. I'll just turn towards the camera, talk to the people, to the listeners of this podcast. Barb, I was talking to Steph about kind of my self-image and how I feel about myself. And it is improving immensely over the course of my life, right? The way that I feel today is vastly different than the way that I feel even last year, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. Constantly trying to just feel better about who I am and feel better about myself as a person. And like, it's that constant battle of trying to not focus and stress and worry about how other people see me and or view me or think about me. But so much of my thoughts are that. Yeah. So much of my energy is concern over how people see me and how they view me. And I kind of went back in time. I heard Huey Lewis in the news. Anyways, growing up, I had two older brothers, and my mom, I was the youngest, so my mom created this standing rule for, like, as long as I can remember. This rule was everybody plays or nobody plays. And the reason she had to create that rule was because my brothers didn't want to hang out with me. They didn't want to play, right? If they were doing something, I was left out. And so she created the rule so that I was included and so that I got to hang out and so that I got to be part of it, whatever was going on, whatever game or whatever event or whatever. And kind of the byproduct of that rule was always feeling like a third wheel and always feeling like my brothers really didn't want me there and that they were being forced to include me. And I remember that rule like forever. It's probably, it may have been a rule before I even came around, right? So who knows?
That's fair.
But it was a really, like, you know, I remember it being said all the time. I mean, it was like something would be going on and mom would be like, everybody plays or nobody plays, right? Because she'd put an end to it if you weren't including everybody. So always feeling like the third wheel and always feeling like nobody really wanted me around just kind of became it's literally just kind of how I felt about myself, like from that point forward. And I'm able to look at the entire course of my life, and I've always had that narrative running in the background. And it has grown over the course of my life, right? Because it went from my brothers. And then once you get to that age when you're going to school and you start to have friends and you start to do all of that kind of stuff, it just became everybody. It became all my friends. Just everybody in my life. I felt like nobody wanted me around and they pitied me. And so the only reason that they wanted to spend time with me or were spending time with me is because they pitied me. And that narrative and that story is something that I have carried my whole life, even up until today. And I feel it so strongly that it's like when we kind of got into it, that makes it sound like we fought. We didn't fight. Whenever this came up, however many nights ago, I don't think I've ever had the like totality when it comes to the awareness of this thing, right? I've always known that I've struggled with my self-image and I've thought that people didn't really like me. And like, it's really hard for me to believe that people really just like me and think that I have the value and or worth. And then even harder for me to believe that people actually want to spend time with me or that they're like happy to see me. And so the weight of that hit me that night that we were talking, and I realized how strongly I felt that way and how strongly I have felt that way my whole life, because it's so easy for me to go back and look at all of my relationships, all my friendships, all romantic relationships, like relationships that I'd had with like mentors and things like that over the years, co-workers. I mean, you just name it. Our kids. I don't think our kids like me. I think they like me out of obligation. And I'm in constant fear that they're, going to stop wanting to be around me or spending time with me. You, obviously, same thing. It's hard for me to really sink into like, this woman likes me. We've been together for like 10 years and I'm still like, I don't know. At any given point. So it's very deep and it's kind of like ingrained in what feels like, kind of the makeup of who I am. And the overwhelming feeling is that it's one of two things. They either don't like me, in which case it's clear, right? They aren't friends with me anymore. Maybe they broke up with me if I was dating them, whatever, right? It's either they don't like me or they pity me. And that's the only reason why they hang out and spend time with me. And then everything feeds that narrative. So like just today, I got a text message from a buddy, John. John sent me a text. Yeah. John lives across the country and we keep in touch here and there. And every now and then we'll get to have some really good phone conversations. And so we keep in touch, but not on a regular basis. But it's nice to hear from him. Mm-hmm. And I get that text and I respond back. And inside I'm thinking, it's so hard for me to believe that he likes me and that he actually cares. And so the narrative is that he's just reaching out of some sense of like pity and obligation. And
from across the country.
Right. Yeah.
No ties whatsoever.
Yeah, the narrative doesn't make sense. But you have to think of it from that little boy that
I can understand.
His brothers didn't want to spend time with him.
I can understand.
And it was really profound for me at the time to realize how deeply rooted it was and how much I have had to counter that and move against it. Mm-hmm. Because I think otherwise I would have been like this super, I think truthfully, I'm kind of like this introvert.
Yeah.
That likes to be left alone and, but at the same time, I like people and I like being around people and I like people. Like I can think of all the people that I like. Do you know what I mean? All my friends, all my family. I like people. I don't look at them. I don't spend any time with somebody I don't like.
I do.
There's not anybody. But there's not anybody that I spend time with that I'm like, oh, I just pity this person, right?
Oh, I don't pity, but yeah.
And so I know intellectually that there's like this huge swath of people that know me and hang out with me and spend time with me and send me text messages out of the blue and keep in touch with me.
Yeah.
Who actually like me.
Yeah.
But it's so hard to believe.
Yeah.
Like, it's so hard to believe. It's so hard. The podcast is a big thing too, where I'm like, who wants to listen to Craig and Steph talk, right? I can understand why people want to listen to you talk.
Why people want to listen to you.
I can understand why people want to look at you because you're beautiful and you have like so much value and worth with the words that come out of your mouth. And I'm like, just the fat kid sitting across from you playing with his fucking cards. I don't know why people are tuning in. So that internal dialogue is so deep.
Yeah.
But it's changing. Do you know what I mean? It's definitely
Is it
shifting.
changing?
It is.
Tell me about how it's changing.
Well, first, okay, I'll tell you how that is changing.
Yeah.
I'm leaning in a lot into your love and really like allowing myself to sit in the space of she loves me. And I just kind of let go in that space to where, because it used to be like super analyzing, right? In the beginning of our relationship, it's like, does she like me? Maybe she doesn't. I don't know. It's so like confusing and exciting and dangerous and scary. And then you kind of settle into the relationship after a few years, but it's still like not solid.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm just at this point where I'm like, we've been together a really long time. I mean, 10 years is a long time, I suppose. And we've been through so much stuff that like, if you still love me today and you say you love me, you show me affection, you do things for me, like you go out of your way to care about my well-being, all these different things. So I'm just letting go and trusting it. And kind of like the way that it feels is like I'm falling back into this puffy cloud almost. It's like this thing that just wraps me up. I fall back into your love and just let it wash over me. And it feels so incredible, but it's hard. Mm-hmm. It's hard to do that. And it's also hard to stay in that. But I'm getting better at it.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, I kind of like look for it. And I'm starting to like crave that feeling.
Really?
Yeah, it's really, really neat. I really like it. And so
I don't have to hold back. I can give it all.
You don't have to hold back. And then I'm just trying to like really counter the narrative of like people don't like me. I'm trying to really believe that people like me.
People like it.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that I have value and that I have worth, and everybody's not just pitying me and kind of allowing me to come along for the journey of their life because, you know, mom said everybody plays or nobody plays.
Yeah.
So can you relate?
100%.
Yeah.
Every level. And I don't really, well, I guess not 100% in every level, because I feel like I have been pitied, and I feel like there are people that pity, but I also just kind of feel like I'm the person that they'll reach out to when they don't have anybody else or anything else. It's like,
you're the last resort.
The last resort, and
I used to think that all
he's
the
the
time.
most disposable person. It's like I will fill a need at the time, and then once that need's there, just because nobody really wants to be. I still feel like that. Like
I think that I have thought that in regards to every relationship that I've ever had.
Yeah.
So every girl that has ever liked me, it's because she got to the end of her list.
Yeah.
Everybody else was taken
Guess
and
I'll
or
hang
said
out with
no.
this person
And it was like, well,
till something better comes along.
fucking Craig, I guess I got to have somebody to stand in.
Yeah.
And then Craig was like, I'm here.
Yeah.
I felt like that with you. Where it was just like,
I definitely feel like that with you.
yeah. What else? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's just like, this is a deep one, and I'm like, it's definitely one to tackle. I'm glad you're starting to see allow yourself the possibility of it not being that.
You know how sometimes we have this thing. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay.
You said I'm trying.
I've just had a lot of stuff come up recently that is like in that realm. And it's like so much of it was, I believe, like I was so hated and garbage. So, of course, that's how other people
also
saw
thought you
me.
weren't wanted, right?
I mean, very much. I still don't.
From the get-go.
Right? Well, I wasn't wanted by portions from the get-go. And like, so it was like that gestational, like, I even heard all the time, you know, anyways, it doesn't matter how much pain my existence caused everybody and how it ruined these lives and here. But you're the best thing that ever happened to me. But I was by myself. My dad didn't love me anymore. He you didn't talk to me until you were 2. And I was just this, you know, anyways, it doesn't matter. That gestational stuff is strong, but all of the reasons it runs deep. But I'm like I was talking about when it solidified when I was a teenager. I kind of recently talked to you about, so we can get into that, but I don't want to hijack because this will totally be a hijack. So I want you to keep going, and I will open up about it. Maybe today, maybe not. But you're just like opened up and you need to keep going.
As I'm talking about it and as we're talking about it, I'm realizing how ingrained it is. Like it's this really weird feeling where as you start to like pick apart yourself, right? You pick apart your thoughts, you pick apart your emotions, and you figure out how you work and all these kind of different things. Sometimes that process feels like you'll come across a coping mechanism, or you'll come across like I have anxiety, right? Anxiety feels like this separate thing from me almost.
Okay.
To where, yes, it's been something that I've dealt with and experienced and had pretty much my entire life, but it doesn't feel, it's almost like I feel like I'm being
hijacked.
No, like anxiety feels like you're walking in the rain. Like I'm not always wet. I'm not always out there walking. Your mind just went
hard.
dirty.
That was, see?
There you go. Yeah.
You just derailed.
There's one thing you can definitely count on with this podcast, and it's the innuendos.
I am paying attention.
No, but it feels like it's a separate thing from me that I have to deal with. It doesn't feel like a part of me. It feels like I have anxiety. I am not anxiety. Like I'm aware of it almost, right?
That's good.
And I can think of a couple of different things that are kind of like that, where they run parallel to me, but they aren't me.
Okay.
This one, this self-confidence, this pitying thing is me.
Like
it feels like
every cell of your
a
body.
fucking part of my DNA. It's so hard.
You really are at the core.
It's so hard to designate the difference between me and that thing.
Yeah.
It feels like they're the same.
Right.
And that's very different than, like I said, like anxiety or some of these other things that I can think of where they feel separate from me, or eventually I'll kind of figure these things out, or do you know what I mean?
Yes.
This one is like always been there, never on the surface, not even like, it's not an itch in the back of your head that you have to like completely under the radar my entire life, but yet in the forefront of all thought. Every thought.
Everything. Even when you're by your fucking self.
Yeah. Yeah. How wacky is that? What the fuck is that?
I don't know. Magical therapist people we have. Help. Have you tried? I just heard mine. She's like, have you tried talking to that part of you?
To the part that thinks it's worthless?
Yes. She would hone in with some parts work. Do you want to hone in with some parts work, or you want to save that for your magical
my therapy appointment tomorrow?
Way better skilled at this than me.
No, my therapist
I'm pretty good.
You're really good. My therapist oftentimes just sits there and listens, and then he's like, "Yeah, a little bit of both, isn't it?" Thanks, motherfucker. Yeah, it is a little bit of both. Thanks for giving me a new fucking mantra that you have to repeat every single fucking...
I'm finally adjusting to that.
To what?
A little bit of both.
You
that
hated it.
Triggered me.
I know.
So hard.
I know.
Do you know?
I do know.
Okay.
It was hard for me to own it up and like speak it and be like, this is really a big deal to me.
Yeah.
Because I knew how much it triggered you.
Yeah. Did you know why it triggered? Do you remember?
think so.
Okay. Well, we don't need to get into that because fucking trigger. I can't handle it right now. But I am coming around and embracing that and trying to not only implement it, but hear you and see you and just like give you that space too. And still right there, I go, there's still, I'm not done being triggered by that.
Yeah.
We got some history here.
I think I know exactly what it is. I probably do, huh?
You don't think I love you, motherfucker. Jesus.
Yeah, I don't know if I can do parts work with this thing.
That's okay. Oh, I think you can.
I'm sure we can. I'm not saying it's not a thing. I just don't know if I can do it right now.
Okay.
Because it's so fresh and new. Like I said, I kind of don't even have awareness that it's separate from me.
It's very much something you could do right now and we could take off, but also
okay, smarty pants.
Both.
Let's fucking do it.
You want to do it?
You know me. Give me a fucking challenge. I'll go fucking do it.
Okay.
Let's think if I can remember the earliest memories of it. Like, what is some of the earliest
Are
stuff?
you going to just walk yourself through it? Okay, do it.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, fucking do it. That is awesome. I can't do it by myself. I have to be guided.
Well, I'm trying to think. First off, what we're talking about is parts work. If you're not familiar, there's a style of therapy called IFS, which stands for Internal Family Systems. We talk about it periodically on the podcast. I think we've got some other episodes in the past that talk about it a little bit more. Maybe one day we'll have an actual like.
Doesn't John into that? Isn't
my buddy
he the one who?
Yeah. John's the one that introduced me to IFS.
Right. Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
Thank you, John.
Yeah. Anywho, go search it up. IFS, Internal Family Systems. It's good stuff. So, earliest memory of feeling like I was like pitied and didn't want to be.
Can you just think just the first number? How old is that?
I would have been little.
Little?
Yeah, like 4.
Like 4? Okay.
Comes to mind, right? I don't know if that's right or not, obviously, but yeah, 4. Yeah. Keep going.
Can you see 4-year-old you?
I can.
What's he doing?
You know, oftentimes when I get a visual of my 4-year-old self, it kind of comes from a picture, like an actual photograph that I've seen before, but I also remember the feel of this. Like I remember running around with my shirt off. Yeah. Like in little shorts or a diaper. I don't think I was in a diaper, but like I remember running around with my shirt off and feeling the sun on my body and like, so it's kind of that. It's kind of this little boy who's running around with his shirt off.
So can you see him? Not the picture. Can you see him?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see him.
Okay. What's he doing?
Oh, he's playing. He's playing outside. He's having a good time. Yeah, he's just happy.
He's happy.
Mm-hmm.
Can he see you?
Can he see me?
Can he see you?
No.
Can you ask him if he can look at you?
Yes.
Did he?
Yes. He recognizes me.
So he knows who you are?
Yes.
Can he see how old you are?
Yes.
And what's he doing now?
He wants to be held. He wants to show me things.
Can you go with him?
Mm-hmm.
Boy,
I don't know where we're fucking going. I fucking hate this kind of work. This is the part of this type of work that I always do this thing in where I'll hurry up and pull out of it and then talk about how I don't want to be doing this because of this, that.
Who is that? Who is that that's
part?
Coming in and...
That's like the part that's like, hold on a minute. Stop, everybody. That's the director. Yeah, that's the director that comes in. Like, this scene's not going very well.
Can you ask your director to step aside for a little while?
I don't know if the director would. He's pretty upset. He's on the phone right now calling the studio saying we need a new...
You want to talk to your director for a minute?
No, I don't want to talk to that fucking asshole. Go ahead. Sorry.
Nothing to apologize for.
Back to the little boy and me. What came up, babe, was I actually had this memory the other day. We used to have a bush in the front yard of our house. And it was it grew up and around that telephone pole that's in the front yard. And I remember playing in that bush and like being able to get inside of the bush and created like a little space. Mm-hmm. And it was like this little cave almost of being in this bush and, you know, like playing with Hot Wheels in the dirt. And I remember at times having different like branches that would be like levers and handles and things like that on a spaceship. And I can just remember it really clearly. So it's like this little boy right now wants to take me and show me stuff like that, wants to show me these cool little places and all of these not imaginary, but all of these places where his imagination flourishes.
See where he felt safe to express himself?
Yes, very much so.
Show you a safe places?
Very much so. Yeah. Definitely feels safe to be himself. And I had to hide to be myself.
Yeah.
Right? Had to play by myself and create these like beautiful and just like rich imagination places. That's part of why I like that tree. We had a big pear tree in the front yard, and I spent a lot of time in that tree, and my brothers didn't. They weren't really good at climbing trees, and they weren't really good at climbing that tree. They did, and they could, but they didn't a lot, right? I felt like I lived in that fucking tree. I would climb that tree with my eyes closed. I would climb that tree like legitimately, and I would do that like just by myself to know that I could do it. I would climb it with my eyes closed because I knew where everything was. I knew where what am I doing now? Which fucking part is this? The guy that just wants to go dream and float around? Because now somebody else came in to deflect.
Tell me about the tree.
It's just really a place where I felt safe. And it makes sense that I would feel safe up there because I was, above it all, up in the air, and nobody could get me up there. And I had all sorts of like really cool stuff up there. I would just, like, I had little alcoves where I would hide toys, and like I knew the branches so well. I would eat food up there, like have picnics and stuff up there. I would lay back, I would read books. I just spent a lot of time up in that tree. And it was like by myself. Nobody was up there. It's not to say ever. Of course, people climbed up there, my brothers and stuff like that. But yeah, that's really an interesting thing that I've done, is had to hide who I really am, and then like create places where I felt safe enough to be that person.
Can you ask them why?
Because otherwise I get hurt. Like otherwise it's pain. Do you know what I mean? Like that's why.
That's why.
Because I feel like I'm just repeating myself, but it's because they didn't want to spend time with me, because they didn't want to hang out. Like they didn't want to play. I remember so much just wanting to like play. And nobody wanting to play with me. Do you know what I mean? And I thought, I'd be down for anything. I had plenty of ideas, like let's play this, let's play this, let's play. All of it was fun. They didn't want to play with me. No. And then finally, when they would like do something, I'd be like, sweet, let's do this. no, you can't come. You can't, you don't get to play. And then I'd have to go run to mom, be like, well, and then she said, everybody play. And then they'd be like, So that's why I had to create those places, because nobody wanted to hang out with me.
Your brothers are kind of your whole world at that point, huh?
Very much so.
Yeah. So it felt like your whole world didn't want you around.
Yeah. Yeah, they were very much my, I looked up to, both of them a lot.
Yeah.
So it sucked to feel like they didn't want me around. I felt that way a lot. That they didn't want me around, and that just like people didn't want me around.
Is it just like people, or did it expand because like you're still looking at them as your whole world?
Yeah, but it's not just my brothers, right?
I know, but we're going just like where it started.
Okay.
And that dynamic, has that shifted?
In regards to what?
With your brothers?
No, it actually hasn't.
No, it hasn't.
It feels the same fucking way. Literally. Hey, let's do this. Hey, let's do that. Hey, I'm ready for anything. What do you want to do? Let's hang out. I'm ready for anything. Nope. Don't want to hang out with you. Don't want to fucking spend time with you. You're a fucking annoyance. And if you are around, I'm going to make you feel like shit, and I'm going to make fucking fun of you. And I'm going to reiterate over and over and over again how worthless you fucking are. And how I'm better than you are. Yeah, no. It doesn't feel like they want me around today.
It's a pretty hard feeling.
Yeah, I don't like that feeling.
Yeah.
You know, it's so fucking... Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to distract and go off.
Maybe
Keep me here.
Stay with us for a little bit.
Yeah, please do.
So if you look at it from the little 4-year-old point, that's where we can go back in his whole world, his brothers, and none of that has changed.
Yes.
You see how maybe he doesn't see how the world has changed, how the people in his life are not them, how he's still very much there because the way it still is with the brothers and how important that still is.
Yeah.
So he isn't allowed to get out of his spaceship or his tree just yet and feel like he's wanted.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
Can you see how that's not the case?
Very much so.
Can you tell him that?
It's so hard to believe, though, babe.
Yeah.
Like, hey, buddy, it's not that way anymore.
What does he say?
It's not what he says. It's, I don't believe that.
Yeah. So he recognized how old you were?
Yes.
Is there, just pick one person.
Okay.
One person right now that you believe the most that loves you.
It's you.
It's me. Can you show him me?
You know what came up?
What's that? What came up?
I gotta protect that little boy.
Okay. Who is that?
Like, how fucked is that? That, like, I got excited at first, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that'd be so great. He'd be so happy to see you. And then, like, oh, wait a minute.
Who is that? Who is that protector that comes in and thinks he needs to protect him? Who is that? What does that part need?
I'm familiar with that part, right? That's the, like, the warrior protector part.
Okay.
That part needs nothing.
Clearly.
I mean...
Needs to protect that little boy.
Yes. I mean, that part does need, I guess, a job in a sense, right? That part
He has a job.
That job has purpose if he's protecting.
Yeah. What does he need right now?
Who?
Your warrior is going to take
It doesn't need
over.
a fucking thing.
Okay. Well, if he doesn't need anything, can you ask him to step aside? You can talk to him.
Yeah, I can.
Do you need to be protected right now, Craig?
No, I don't need to be protected right now.
Can you ask him to go into another room for a little while and you can talk to him? Let him know that you've got this.
Yes.
That little boy is safe and you've got this.
Yes. That little boy is safe.
Okay.
I don't do parts work all that often anymore.
Yeah.
I kind of do in the background, I suppose, in my head, but...
Can you show him me again?
Show who?
Your little boy.
What about him? Do you want me to introduce him to you?
Who, if you can't, if you need to stay with this part right here that's protecting, then okay, then maybe we talk to him. Maybe he...
You don't want to talk to that protector.
Yeah, I do.
No. That guy's so mean.
Well,
that little boy would love to spend time with you, but I'm afraid of letting anybody see him.
you're keeping him hidden?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
like it's okay that like he's excited to show me things because he knows that, like, you know, I know that place in the bush. I know the tree. I know all the cool things that he sees and all the cool things that he creates and all the cool things that he is. So it's like this excited feeling of like, yeah, I'm so excited. Finally, I get to show somebody all this stuff. And then you're like, well, let me see that little boy. Why don't you go look over there? It does not feel safe to show anybody that kid.
Can you tell your protector that by keeping him shielded from everything, all the love that is there now?
It's not even the protector, Steph. It's me. The protector ain't there right now.
I feel like I'm talking to him right now. It's a really good job of getting in and directing this and taking care of everything. Pushing everybody aside, pushing everybody out, keeping him in that spot. He's really good at his job.
How fucked up is that I have to hide that little boy?
How cool is it that you had somebody that would come in and take such good care of him? How cool is it that he was loved that much? That you've got that director? Have you thanked him?
You know, we've talked, I don't remember, it was a relatively recent episode. And I talked about, like, I really like myself.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that little boy is like, I'm super cool.
Yeah.
And it's like all the things that I would see, Steph, and all the things that I would like believe. And like, I've talked before about how I feel like I'm magical, right? Like that little boy fucking is magical.
Yeah.
And I remember always thinking how cool I am and just how fun I am. And it's like, it never made sense to me why people didn't want to hang out with me. I thought I was so fucking awesome and fun and cool.
I agree.
All the things, like, think about all the, like, when I come up with an idea for us, right? Like an adventure or something that it's fucking fun.
Magical.
Right? It's super fucking cool.
It is. I always have an amazing time. Always. There's always a part of me that is changed from that every single time. I see your magic. I experience your magic. I'm affected by your magic and I love your magic.
So when you're like, hey, like, tell those parts that, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Look how hard they work.
Yeah, to keep like that little boy safe.
Right?
And in a sense too, to like keep his, like that spark of who he is alive. Because even though it feels like maybe I've lost that, or that had been beaten down so much in a sense over the course of my life, the truth of the matter is it hasn't, right?
No.
Because like we still do magical shit today. So, worked so hard to keep that part alive and to keep that little boy safe.
You did it. Your warrior did it.
Yeah.
Your warrior sounds like he's magical too. Can you see your warrior? Can he see you?
You know, it's funny. Because the little boy's running around in his chonies, right? He's running around in shorts with his shirt off. And that's basically what the warrior's wearing too. He's got a cod piece on and no shirt.
That is awesome.
Covered in scars and
Full of magic.
That's so funny.
I'm grateful to your warrior.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you talk to him?
Do you remember, it was probably last year, I had that thing where it felt like he got to put his sword down?
I do remember that.
It's like he snuck in after hours and picked it back up at some point.
He must have thought you needed it.
Yeah, right? I must have needed it.
You must have.
See, that whole idea of like, I'm just going to put that part to bed and figure it out and then it can rest. And maybe they don't get to rest, right? Maybe they get a break.
Maybe
I don't know.
It doesn't have to be all or nothing. Maybe he gets to be a part of you.
Gets to be both. That's
Gets
what
to
you were
be
going to say.
both.
You
There you
said it's
go.
going to be both.
I said all or nothing.
Well, you got a
He
fucking
gets-
tattoo that says, get me both.
Yeah.
We need more tattoos.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that the other day.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to go any deeper,
I
babe.
can see. It's okay if you can't.
Yeah.
If you want to move on, that's
It's
okay.
pretty big, though.
It's big and it's beautiful.
Yeah, I can feel the weight of it. Like the recognition of, like it just never felt right. Like I said, I mean, I've always felt it in a sense, that thing of like people didn't like me, but I never understood it. And I was always like really surprised when I would meet people that it was clear didn't really like me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That always was like hard for me to believe. And I think part of it is like definitely ego and narcissism and all that kind of stuff too. There's some of that mixed into the mix. There's some of that mixed into the mix. There's some of that in there, but there's also this other part of just like feeling so likable in, I guess, a sense, right? It just never made sense to me. Like I just never understood why these motherfucking brothers of mine didn't want to hang out and do shit. I wanted to spend time with them.
Yeah.
You know, I thought they were the coolest fucking guys around, doing the coolest fucking things. Fucking emulated both of them.
Yeah.
For so long. Up until, you know, I didn't anymore.
That's a lot you have to mourn with that.
Oh, mourn, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to mourn.
What do you want to do?
I just don't want to fucking deal with it.
Yeah, I get that.
I just don't want it to be a thing.
I get that.
You know, I'm making efforts with one of them, which is nice.
It's very nice.
It feels really good.
This one seems to be responding.
Yeah. I don't know why we're talking in code. I got two fucking brothers. Their names Adam and Brian. Adam's been on the podcast before. Go back and find that episode. And Brian, actually, I thought of this today, actually.
Okay.
Brian was the first investor in the podcast. When the podcast was... The Brian Man. When we started the podcast back in 2016, we needed some money to buy all the gear initially. And it was after I had I didn't fucking lose it. It was after I got fired from being a cop, and we were in the middle of just a lot of turmoil and upset, and the idea that we were going to be able to come up with like $500 or something. I don't remember what it was. But it was a couple $100, 500, 800, something like that, in order to get everything for the podcast. And Brian invested.
Yes, he did.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
What are you not saying?
I have emotions too. I just had pieces put together that I didn't have before, that I'd forgotten, that just got reflushed, and I had to like breathe for a minute, and that's okay.
Do you want to share?
Like you said, we were in turmoil before. Right now, no, I don't want to share.
Okay.
And that's all right, because
for sure.
it doesn't have to go off in this direction now.
Very much
So let's stick with that. You actually had support from one of your brothers. I've never seen Adam give you any kind of support. I'm not saying he hasn't. I'm just simply saying what I've witnessed.
Yeah.
I've seen you reach out and nothing. And I've seen you reach out to Brian and get responses. So maybe that narrative isn't
accurate.
Not that it isn't accurate, but maybe there's another, what do you say, multifaceted. Maybe there's another angle.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something else to that story that little boy can see now.
Yeah.
How your brother, how one of them
has shown up. Yeah.
Seems like he has to bring out his warrior when he comes out, which he doesn't do anymore. Maybe that's his warrior.
I don't know why we're here talking about this, right?
We don't have to.
No, it's okay. I wanted to. Like I said at the beginning, I think a lot of people can probably relate to this feeling of having that overwhelming sense of, people don't like me.
Yeah.
So you're not alone. Unless you like to be alone, and then you're all by yourself. Okay, baby. We should probably shift gears.
Okay.
Unless there's some other profoundness that you see and or want to highlight for me, which, by the way, I'm not. That seemed like a dick thing, but
your warrior is like, you got something else, bitch?
No, it's been very nice. You've done a wonderful job of helping me. I'm serious. I'm saying that with genuine, actual love.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. We can move on.
For real,
I'm willing to get to this at any point, and also willing to just move on.
Anything else stand out for you? Like that you saw for me, or do you know what I mean? Awareness.
The thing is I'm like resisting that urge. And so I'm paying attention to like, what is that to like bring you back and to start taking you back in. And I'm hearing you, and I'm just trying to let that go. So there's nothing else profound. There's nothing else I'm going to get into. If you want to keep going, then I'm here with you. But you've made it clear that this is where you're at, and I'm not going to say, no, sit down, you're going to do this. So we get to move on, and you get to do it in ways that work for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a new deck of cards, folks.
They're blue. Make it blue.
Make it blue.
Make it blue. To bring your pink ones back out.
They're red.
I know, but make it blue. Make it pink. Make it blue. They kind of look pink.
Yeah.
No.
Well, what should we close out with?
You want to close?
I mean,
do you want to do a magic trick?
I don't want to do. I don't want to do a magic trick.
Well, we can close out with. We can just close it. We don't have to close out. I mean, like, that's it. That's a wrap, folks.
No,
that's all, folks.
I had something that I wanted to say.
Okay.
It was Glennon.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
She's got a podcast.
Yes.
Miss Doyle has a podcast. I don't know what it's called. But I'll see her clips sometimes on the Insta. And one of her recent, what?
On the Insta.
On the Insta. By the way, go follow us on Instagram. Craig has mastered Reels, kind of. Getting way better.
Really good at them.
Released the absolute best one today that I'm responsible for 175 of the views because I like it so much. Anyways, Glennon Doyle has a podcast, and on that podcast recently they had Esther Perel. And so I was watching the clip because I really like Esther. And
is it Esther? I've always called her Esther.
No, it's Esther.
I apologize, Esther.
And I apologize, Esther, if I have that wrong. Okay, so this was in the context of relationships, and us. We'll just say us, right?
Well, we're
in a relationship.
We're in a relationship.
So what she said, and then she went on to elaborate and explain and kind of describe more. But the thing is, I get my toothpick out of my mouth for this one. Behind every criticism is a longing. Behind every anger is a hurt.
I agree with that 1,000,000%.
Right?
All of the, yes. That.
Yeah. And then, like I said, they go on to elaborate, and she explains and picks it apart and dissects it a little bit. But just that simple, behind every criticism is a longing. Behind every anger is a hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking of that, whether it was yesterday or 2 days ago, who fucking knows, when I was angry with you.
Oh.
And so I was like, it was hard and I didn't succeed, but I at least had awareness and I was trying because I recognized first and foremost that I was angry with you. So then my next thought was, what's my hurt behind that anger? Because the anger, I always, every time I get angry at you, I know that it's stupid. Like it's not real. I know that it's like this imaginary thing that comes out because I just love you so much. So even when you make me angry, you don't really make me angry, right? So I know that. But then I get angry at you sometimes. And so with that quote in mind and that concept of behind every anger is a hurt, I thought, what is that hurt? And like I said, I didn't succeed. I didn't solve it. I didn't find it. And my anger powered past that moment. So my anger didn't allow me to go deeper into what the hurt was. But at least I had awareness of it, right? Hopefully the next time I'll be able to slow down enough to be able to find and identify the hurt. And then hopefully I'll be able to communicate that hurt to you. So, and then I was thinking more about every criticism is a longing. Do you think I criticize you a lot? Or that's the wrong way to say it. Do you feel criticized by me a lot? It's okay if you do.
Yeah, I do. But are you that critical of me? I mean, sometimes I feel like, yeah, you absolutely are. Sometimes it just feels heavy. But also, I'm not critical of myself. So
what would be
could be me.
What would be the longing behind your criticism of yourself?
I'm sorry. I got very distracted with the behind every anger is a hurt and having a hard time finding the hurt. I think an expansion on that is it's not always a hurt you received, but it can also be a hurt you've caused. Because I can think of a lot of, I can say both.
Hurts that you've caused out of anger?
No. So behind every hurt.
Behind every anger is a hurt.
Thank you. But I think I'll just put it in my context. If I'm angry, if I get angry at you, I can be angry at you because of my actions. So it can be a hurt that I have caused, or I can be angry at you for hurt that you have caused. I can see both very clearly. So the hurt isn't always you've been hurt. It can be you've hurt. And then that's the response as the same as criticism. It can come from either angle. It's not a
Right.
single direction. And that's just like hitting.
The quote or the statement or whatever holds true for both, right? Regardless.
Yeah.
Because it's not to say it doesn't matter, but like the source of the hurt or where the hurt stems from doesn't change that anger's really masking it.
Yes.
Thank you for that one, Esther. How fun would you like to have her on the podcast one day?
Fucking scared. Lutely.
Yeah.
I'm so fucking scared. Lutely. Yes.
I've thought about going on her podcast. You know, she does that Have you ever listened to her podcast?
I have.
Because she's a therapist and her podcast is therapy sessions. So she'll record a session with couples or sometimes it's just an individual. And that's the podcast episode. So it's really good stuff. I thought about us going on there. How fun would that be?
Fuck.
It'd be so fun.
Yeah.
What would we talk about?
Oh, I wonder. Jesus.
We got a few things. We could work out on that. Maybe we'll do that episode on this podcast. We'll just, what would be really fun is to bring our therapists on and then do that.
Yeah.
Have them give us a therapy session on the podcast.
Don't say that because I don't want them to quit us. Like they're gonna be like, you know what?
You fucking wackadoos.
Right?
We're not coming out on your fucking podcast. Anything else, baby? This has been fun.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm done.
We haven't done an episode like this in a while.
Yeah.
For whatever fucking reason, this was it. Go ahead.
No, I'm just ready to be done.
Go follow us on Instagram. We're doubling the podcast this year. So you'll see way more of us and small businesses. We are highlighting small businesses throughout the rest of the year in support of small businesses. So if you would like to be highlighted and promoted on this podcast and reach people all over the globe, hit us up. Just shoot us a message on any of the many numerous ways that you can find us. Our address is
theenergyislovepodcast.com.
I was going to give us our home address. They could send us a letter.
I gave them theenergyislovepodcast.com.
Okay, that works. You can go find us there. Thank you.